Okay, I've created a layout pretty much, well, entitled Eating Around the World. And this particular one I'm doing with Italy. But, you know, whether we eat out in our own city or we eat out in another country we're been to visit, we all get to eat out in different places around the world. So I wanted to create something that you could use with many different types of layouts. So this one I'm using the Italy theme pack, and sorry, I'm just adjusting my stand for you because I feel like it's moving forward. So with the Italy theme pack, you get 4 sheets of double-sided paper, 1 sheet of cardstock, and a sheet of designer stickers. And the stickers have sayings and titles and whatever have you on them. So you can see they're all really lovely. So the designs look like this, and I feel like this is quite Italian, quite terracotta looking. Looks like a tile, mosaic tile. It's very, very pretty indeed, and the colours are beautiful. And then on the other side, you have this beautiful muted leafy pattern, which could work with so many other layouts as well. And then they've included a dark green in this quite regal pattern. And the other side is like wine bottles, which is so Italian, right? So, and then some shell shimmer cardstock. Now, also I am using the Italian laser cut borders, and most of them are pretty much all double-sided. So you have this one, which is totally beautiful. But if you didn't want to use the Italy, you could use the other side and just pop something over the center of it. And then you have 2 shades of the Rialto Bridge, the dark grey and the light grey for Venice. You have these terrific wine bottles in the colours, both sides. And I think one is just a little bit more muted than the other. You have this beautiful grapevine, which is almost identical either side. And then you have these fantastic landmarks, which I intend to actually cut up because they're from different areas. Rome, Venice, Rome, Pisa, Venice. And I think that is a basilica somewhere. Not 100% sure of the last one, but anyway, you get a whole lot. And I don't know why my camera keeps dropping. I'm sorry. I have to keep tightening. It's just not working for me today. I've been doing too much work with it. I think it's giving up the ghost. My poor tripod. Let's see if we can get it adjusted for you. So anyway, this this layout, I've used some of these laser cuts as well. So let's move them out the road. And I have already gone ahead and pre-cut everything for you. So let me just show you this sticker sheet. Now you can see I've cut some of the pieces off it that I'm going to use, but you can see you get flags and you get cutlery and wine glasses and the beautiful olive branches, the word Italy, ciao bella, grazie, vino. So you get lots of, I love pasta. So, you know, these are stickers as well as the Italian map. These are stickers you could use even if you just went out to an Italian restaurant. You'd be able to use those. So they're very versatile. So I think my layout is going to look something like this. I've pre-cut out everything. And I think when we finished, it'll look something similar to that. So I've kind of got it all ready to go. Now, what tools I'm using the Border Maker system. And I've already gone ahead and pre-punched it, as you can see. We'll talk about that in a moment. And if you have it, the wine and bottle Border Maker cartridge. But you could use any of the leafy ones along the bottom too. They would look great. There's quite a few leaf Border Maker cartridges that will work really well. A pair of scissors, the geometric frame punch, the fantastic 12-inch trimmer, and which I seem to be using these a lot more often now, dot pens, and the brand new, if you can get them, the fine tip brown and black pens, because they're great for fine work. So let's start with those, and we'll talk about, put my layout to one side, this border. So this is where I want to start. So you could just use the border, and you could just put it on your layout just like that, and that would be fine. I just wanted to add some detail to it, so I've gone ahead and using my black, I've left the last couple for you to see, using the black fine tip pen. I've used the brown one to go around, if I turned over the other side, around all the bottle shapes. So I would have gone around like this and just done a basic bottle shape. And it, you know, as I've said before, with these sorts of layouts, you don't have to be precise. So it would have been something like that. And then all the glass ones, I've gone around with the black pen and just roughly done a glass shape. Not even perfect. Done a little bit of fluid inside, and then I've filled them. So the last couple, I've done it all except for these two. And get the right pen. So we just around the edge, just giving it, I think it just creates some dimension to it, so it just doesn't, it no longer looks like just a punched out, a two-dimensional punch out. You can give it a bit of colour too if you want. And once again, it just doesn't have to be perfect. And let's add some line work to it. Then using the thick end of my dot pens, as you can see, I've used red and light blue, yellow, green. Use some of the dot pens. You could use normal pens if you don't have the dot pens. And I've just carefully filled in that area, so it kind of looks like grape juice or red wine. Just simple like that. And might do the blue on, the blue on this one. Don't know what's happening with my camera today. It's not behaving. I think I will go fix it and come back to you because it's driving me nuts. And we'll let that dry. Okay, hopefully my camera doesn't keep dropping with my tripod. It's being difficult today. So anyway, that is the bottom border. Then I have, let's address the bottom part here. The bottom part of the layout. So that's going to go down the very bottom. Then I'm using the wine bottle laser cut out of the laser cut paper pack. So that is there. And then I've cut this out of this beautiful green paper. I've cut the one with that lovely print on the other side. I've cut a 2.5 inch strip. But before I cut it, I've given it a scalloped edge with my decorative blade. So that's using the purple one here. Now to get it so it's concave, not convex, make sure when you put it in your trimmer that the word faces out towards your left. I hope that makes sense. And then that way you will get it that way. When you want it to go the other way, you need to take the blade out and turn it so it faces to the right. So the words face to the right. So hopefully that makes some sense to you. So I've trimmed the edge first, and then with the straight blade, put the straight blade back in and cut it at 2.5 inches. And that's given us the lovely decorative piece of strip here with that lovely edge. And hopefully you can see that. I have then cut 2 lengths of the frame chain, and we're about to adhere all those down, so I'll have to find, oops, where have I put that? A tape runner. Been doing too much and couldn't find it. So you will start with 2 strips, one black, and I've used the suede beige colour, and you will need to cut them 2 1/4 inches wide. You punch all down one side, then place a post-it note. Now I might actually see if I can find a scrap and show you how to do this, because it is quite tricky. So let me grab a piece of cardstock. Quite like this dark grey anyway. So it just needs to be 2 1/4 inches long, wide, to get the whole thing out of it. Back in my scraps box. Just in case you've never seen this done before. So now we need to use this edge of our punch, and make sure you get it all the way through. So, and then you'll start it, and you'll bring it along and do all the way down until you have the whole thing done, lining up your pieces like you normally would on your blue frame on this edge here. And my finger's holding it down, nearly at the end there. Right, now because you won't be able to see this side when you put it into your punch, and a lot of the border punches this technique will work with, I always keep a little piece of post-it note on my craft table, and you just need to line up that left edge of your paper with the very left edge of your, and that's where I finished. You can flip it and do it that way, but you will still need to line it up correctly. Line it up. That edge is now going to line up with this black line on our punch. You could do it, if you do it slightly smaller than 2 1/4, like 2 4/16, you will get a more accurate distance between the two punches. So, and you'll probably not get that little edge bit, as you can see right in there. So now if we keep punching, lining it up, and I could just go ahead, instead of using the black and brown, I'll have a look and use this one here instead, because I kind of like the colour. And it makes these border punches so versatile. This one is one of my favourites, the geometric frame punch. I really love it. I think there's so much you can do with it, including creating these gorgeous orbs, which I love a lot. Right, last one. Line that up, and away we go. Okay, and then you can see, and then you'll just have to take your scissors and getting rid of that rubbish and trim, hand trim those little edges and anything you need to get rid of. I think that might have been slightly out of alignment there. Like I say, if I did it at 3 4/16, I'd probably get a more accurate, I wouldn't get these little bits in the center here. It's out slightly, the alignment's out slightly, but you can pretty much will started out all right, so I don't know what happened there. But anyway, you can, I might have been slightly out right from word go. You can see, and then you can cut them apart if you wish to, but that is how you create that. It takes a little bit of practice, and before too long you have it worked out. So I'm then going to take my strip that I cut earlier and add my orbs. I think I like the black and the fawn. They make it pop, so we'll get rid of that one. So then it's just a matter of, I think I have 3 of each colour, just adhering these close to the top and to the edge. And if you use the lines on your 13" by 13" mat, you should be able to line them up fairly straight using that centre line, as long as everything is lined up. So let's go ahead and do that. Don't like doing it directly on my mat because it's always a mess to clean up afterwards. With the repositionable tape. Okay. So I use a bit of cardstock out of a pack. It just allows for me to keep it off my mat and less to clean up later. You could use any other punch behind it, but whoop, I think it just helps to make that pop a little bit more. Oop, and I'm going to say I have one missing, but it's there. And like I say, it doesn't have to be accurate. But you'll get a bit of an idea. Right. Okay. These are orbs. Now we're going to pop this over the top. We could foam square it, but I think I'm going to keep it all flat. I think it will help it visually much better. And quite often I like to foam square things. And I'm going to use the brighter, not the more muted. This is a restaurant we went to on our last night in Rome. And the people who owned it were just the nicest people. But they were just... it was such a popular restaurant. It's still there to this day. It is just lovely. So then that will comfortably sit at the bottom there, and you can see that lovely visual, the wine bottles and the glasses and so forth down the bottom. So let's add that bit of repositionable tape. As you all know, I like to use pen work. I think the pen work often creates a beautiful visual rather than it just being two-dimensional. It's not flat and 3D. So that's the bottom. Now I am adhering it all to a beige cardstock background because I really like the colours with this Italy theme pack papers. So these, I'll move the photos and the mat away because that's a whole different kettle of fish. This piece at the top here, so this little edge is the piece I cut away from this piece here. So that simply, all that is when I wanted to get that edge, I trimmed it the tiniest piece off the top. You just use to the edge of your grey mat and you'll get like 1/4 of an inch. It's beautiful. So that will be at the top, and then the other piece, which is going at the bottom, which is the opposite way, is off. Pull it all apart now, all my good work, planning work. This is off the bottom of this mat, and I cut this mat 6 3/4 inches wide. And you can see that is 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. So the blade was turned so when it goes onto the page, this will therefore just slot. You can see those edges just slot in perfectly. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to try to keep the edges so that they were like a continuing piece, but the pattern had changed. So that's the effect I was going for. So let's start with popping down everything we have here. And that's my lovely laser cut that I wanted to use. I think that's just absolutely beautiful. So let's get this on the bottom. This great border we've created for the bottom here. Oop. I think sometimes you get cardstock and it is just ever so much slightly larger than your paper. And I think that's what's happening here. But anyway, so we're going to do that there. Let's get our piece at the top that we're not going to waste, because that will fit in beautifully. Might be time for a new piece of cardboard. It's getting very sticky. Let's get that close to the top, and hopefully, because I can't see my head right over the top, hopefully I've got that right. Oop. Too much over one end and I don't want to cut it off, so thankfully for the repositionable tape I'll just lift it and pop it back down again. Okay, so that gives you that. Then the next part will be our laser cut. We'll line that up and it'll go in the gap. And then this is our piece that will go here. And obviously it looks like it's just come from the other end. So I think it's opposite because I turned the paper upside down. That's non-mathematical me trying to work that out. And roughly just try to get it straight. And probably would benefit you using the lines on your mat right now. Just move that over just a tiny bit more. Let's see if we can line that up. And that's fairly straight. Okay, so now we have a border at the top and a border at the bottom that both look quite different. So now we are going to go ahead, get rid of that because I don't need it, and add our piece of paper to the center. Now you could just leave it plain and pop your photos over the top if you like, but I really do love this paper at this point, so I'd like to pop that in and put it to good use. I think this paper is, you know how you get some packs and they just have the most amazing sheet of paper. I think this is the one in this paper pack for me. So you just want a small gap between your cuts. Just try to keep it nice and even and lined up. I think the idea is to keep it lined up. Now, I could have put a black strip behind that or something so that it didn't blend so much, but you know, it doesn't bother me. I think that looks great. So now we're on to adding the rest of our our pieces, our elements to our page. That's the best word for it. I am using smaller photos. So let me grab all this. So I am using 3" by 4" photos. And I have cut mats for them all because, you know, because they're small photos, I think they need to be matted. And I've cut them through the mats 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I could have cut the photos down, but things like this photo has got all this, all these pictures and so forth in the background that I just didn't want to lose. So then I've cut a smaller mat, and that's I think 3 1/4 by 2 inches, and then the matching cardstock to create a double matting with that. And this will all go on my page as such. So we just need to work out which is which, what's going where. And I think it's going to end up looking, whoop, something like that. I had to steal a couple of photos off the internet, so they are smaller, so I haven't worked those out yet, so I need to work those out. But I'll stick all that down and we'll come back and show you the finished page when it's all done. Okay, now everything has been stuck down and I'm pretty happy with that layout. I think the papers work beautifully with the photos, and it really was one of our favourite restaurants to go in Italy. So it, you know, deserves some nice papers. So hopefully you can do something similar with your eat out photos from wherever you've taken them and where you've been. So thank you very much.